giving you a quick overview of setting up a new Zoom meeting as the instigator of the session, the tutor if you like. So you will have Zoom app already downloaded. If you haven't, then get hold of that. I'm on a Mac, so it might look slightly different if you're on Windows, but it's the actual Zoom works exactly the same way. So when you open up Zoom, the app, it presents you with this window here, this box. You've got 4 options at the top. Don't worry about these other 3. It's the home tab that you want. And these 4 sections, we won't be using these 3 at all. So scheduling a new meeting, that's joining a new meeting straight away. So if I click that, it'll actually create a new meeting and ask you to start one, and then obviously invite people. Well, it's unlikely you'll be doing that from the get-go. You'll be scheduling one in advance. Joining a meeting, again, is a meeting that's already going on. You've got a code for it and you'd put that code in, so you're joining in that way. Again, it's unlikely you'll be doing that, because even if you're joining a new meeting, you would have had an invite, and in addition to the code, you should have had a click on link, and that's obviously far better. But if you wanted to do it this way, you could, if you're joining a meeting. Sharing a screen, well, you wouldn't share a screen without joining a meeting first. I'm not entirely sure why that's always there. That comes later on in the tutorial, in the training. But is this button here on the bottom left where you want to schedule a meeting in advance. This is what I use pretty much every time, and this is what you will use as well. So you click on schedules a new Zoom meeting. Fairly straightforward here. You don't need to change a lot of these things. Obviously give it an appropriate title. That always helps. If I just say Learn for Life Zoom training, and put the correct so you're scheduling it in advance. So I'm going to do it for tomorrow, Friday the 29th. Today's Thursday, so I'm doing this in advance. So in fact, the meeting we're in is this one that I'm scheduling now at 10 o'clock. Just scroll up to 10, and it gives you this warning because this is the unpaid for, the free version of Zoom, which is what I use for my own purposes. You can only schedule a 30-minute Zoom meeting, which then they give you an extra 10 minutes. So you got effectively 40 minutes. And the way round really is that if you want to do an hour or an hour and a half, is to schedule 2 concurrently. So one just follows the other, and you send out 2 links, and then people come out of one when that finishes and then start the other one. And that's the way I've been able to do it. A little bit inconvenient, but certainly doesn't affect anything. And then you want to just schedule when you want to finish, so you can only have half hour. But I believe Learn for Life might have a paid for plan, in which case that will be irrelevant about the timing of it. So you can have an hour and a half, however much you want. So that's the timings done. Generate the meeting ID automatically. That's better rather than putting it in manually. Passcodes are automatically generated. You want these settings. It's a good idea to click this waiting room. Only users admitted by the host can join the meeting. That's good for not just security purposes, but I think it's good etiquette to so you know who's coming into the meeting. The only people that will be waiting there are the people you've sent a link to, that you'll be sending this link to, so there won't be any surprises there. These couple of settings are important as well. The host, do you want the video off as soon as you start the meeting, or do you want it on? Now you can obviously decide, but I always have it off because you never know, you might be in the middle of something, or you want to start the video when you want to start it, not when the software tells you to. And the participants as well, this is even more important. You don't really want their video to be on by default and then for them to scramble around to try and turn it off. It's better to have it off, and then they can turn the video on if they choose to do so at some point during the proceedings. And of course you can talk through that. Which calendar do you want the meeting information to go in? You obviously need to set this up initially if you're not if you haven't set it up. I use a Google Calendar, but if you use other calendars, then you can click that. That's if you use an electronic calendar. You may not. Okay. Under here, under the advanced options, I never really change these, but again, it's worth having a look. Allow participants to join any time. You could do that, but I don't think it's necessary. Mute participants upon entry. You could do that and let them unmute themselves, but again, I don't think the mute is that important, but the video is. Automatically record the meeting on your computer. Now, you wouldn't want to tick that, particularly if you've got learners, because you need to get their permission to record a video. In some circumstances, it would be useful to record a video, record the Zoom session to have it available as a learning tool, as a video, as a learning tool afterwards, but you would instigate that recording at the start of the meeting when you've had the permission, not not by ticking that there. Okay, so I don't tick any of those, but again, it's a personal choice. We've done everything we need to do. It's fairly straightforward. Click save, and it's scheduling that, and it's going directly into my Google account. It's saying, well, because I use my Google account to log into Zoom, you might be different. It asks permission, so that's the Google account that I use. It says confirm your choice. Is that the one you want to allow Zoom to have access to your Google account? Well, yes, because that's what I've chosen to use. You might sign into your Zoom account, in which case it will give you that option. So this is now scheduling it in my Google Calendar, and there's the invite link there. And it's about, before I click save to put it into my Google Calendar, I always copy this. So on your keyboard, just do Control and C to copy, just like you would copy and paste anything else. And once you've done that, then I can put it in save. So it's saving it in my calendar. So if I go to the 29th, sorry, there it is, it's scheduled in. And at any time, I can go into my calendar, click on that, and of course the link's there, and I can copy and paste it. Or when I'm about to start the meeting, I just go to my calendar, click on that, and I can start the meeting directly from that link. Okay. What do I do with that copied link that I've just done? I copied it onto the clipboard. Well, I would now go into my into my email account and actually send the participants, the learners, an email with that link into it. Okay, so I'm not doing it through my Google account. I'll be doing that through my Dudley MBC account, but effectively you would send them an email, paste that link in, and put their email addresses in, obviously, and send that off to them. One final thing just to say is that it's saying there's no upcoming meetings today, but if I look at the schedule, so under meetings, sorry, it gives me at the top here under meetings, upcoming meetings, it tells me there's a Tutor Zoom meeting coming up on Friday at 10 a.m. Okay, so I can click on that, and it says show meeting invitation, and it tells me there. So I've got that information there as well, so I could click from there and actually go directly to the meeting, or click start, and that starts the meeting as well. Okay, go back to home, and that's essentially it when you're scheduling a meeting. This is done from a Mac desktop. I'm going to do the same video, the same process, and record a video on an iPad, so that's doing it from a mobile device. So you've got the two to compare the subtle differences. Okay, thanks, I hope that's helpful.